Look, it's us in our wonderful background again. I need to remember to look that way. Usually my little thing's up there.
You're right.
So, we're doing a makeshift Eat With Us mukbang. Last time I used like the mukbang.
Is it mukbang?
Mukbang tag, and I got a whole bunch of thumbs down. So, apparently it wasn't a mukbang. Yeah, I think people are just cranky during VLOGMAS, quite honestly. Okay, so we're unintentionally matching, kind of. His is more red.
Yeah.
But we got Indian food, vegetable pakora. I've already mixed mine. Or this isn't vegetable pakora. This is called aloo kali. And Benjamin can't even speak right now. He's eating before we get started. So yeah, it's basically like vegan Indian food. We have white rice that comes with like a spicy sauce or like curry with cauliflower and potatoes. So, and then we have these vegetable pakoras, which look disgusting, but they're amazing.
So good.
And yeah, we're gonna eat. And we had a lot of people were interested in our video that I put up on Friday, all about debt and money, and we weren't exactly in like the happiest of mindsets after that conversation. So we're like, what else can we talk about when it comes to money and while eating Indian food? So Benjamin, you get to lead it off because I haven't eaten yet. Do y'all even like these eating with us videos? Let me know.
Somebody recently was doing one of these, and I liked it just because it felt more informal. It's like
a sit-down video without being...
Yeah, because it's like if you were sitting across the table eating with us and we were like having a conversation. I don't know. Something about it just seems more normal and natural to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like by the end of the conversation, I was like so done talking about it, which I'm sure you guys saw in the video for both of us probably. It's just like such a struggle because it just brings up like it's just not enjoyable to talk about. But it is really helpful to know when it helps other people or when other people feel the same, when it resonates with them.
Yeah. So a lot of y'all have interest in us doing budgeting videos again. A couple of people gave ideas of, it's more about like the consistency, and it encourages others to do it at the same time, but it also can be like helpful just to see what other people's like expenses are. So people are like more interested in expenses versus like income, which I think would be interesting. My budget, if you watch any of my old budgeting videos, our budget really doesn't look any different. Our grocery budget, imagine that, is higher. And like we were able to loosen up a little bit on like going out to eat budgets, although this is the first time we've had anything out in a long time, since like Thanksgiving when we got whatever it's called. But yeah, so it's like we don't have any crazy expenses, but I'm happy to share with you what we do. We were really lucky to have saved a lot of money with moving out here, with just like kind of how things balanced out earlier in the year. Benjamin was bringing in more money. You were training, he was training again in person. So that kind of boosted some extra money that we had come in. I was bringing in, I had gotten a raise. So like our income was a little bit higher that way. I think I got like a couple of like office things paid for and stuff. So that just took random pieces off of us. We got the stimulus check, which was not huge, but it was helpful. And it kind of like,
definitely helpful.
Yeah, it like catapulted us a little bit. So we were able to save some money. And actually might be interesting, if y'all are interested in knowing how much the month was that we moved, that was probably the highest expense month we have ever had as a couple.
It might be a fun one to do.
Yeah, so let me know if you'd like to see that, because we were able to do that without without anything on credit, like moving across the country. It was like a 5-figure month for us. So as far as spending,
Yeah.
so yeah, we were able to save a lot this year versus spend. We did pay off a small loan that I had, but so yeah, that's kind of like, we didn't bring in any more debt this year, which was really good if you think about it. We were able to save. We didn't bring in any more debt. And we were able to pay off some debt. So that's good.
Yeah. One of the
Have you had none of those yet?
Not yet. One of the things that has always has frustrated me with our situation is that we're not even like big spenders. Like we just don't spend a bunch.
I will be honest, if I had the ability, I probably would be. I like to spend money. But I still wouldn't be ridiculous.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like we're not like out of control in that way by any means. I'm very simple. Like I would spend money here and there on some like nice things, but for the most part, I don't know. I don't need to spend money. It's just not something that I really.
I will say though, when you spend money, it's like expensive.
It's always big ticket items, just not often. But
he doesn't buy himself like clothes or stuff, but he will buy himself like.
So what I'm getting at is that compared to a lot of people, at least from my, like friends in the past and just people that lead different lifestyles, like we don't do a bunch of shopping for ourselves. We don't go out to like really fancy dinners. Like, we'll have Indian
takeout
out every once in a while or whatever. And we appreciate good food. That is one thing that I would do more often if we had the ability to have that expense. Would be
if COVID wasn't a thing.
Eating really nice food. But like we don't go out and drink, so it's not like we're spending all this money on alcohol. It's like Jesse will have a drink every once in a while, but we're not like going out and spending all this money.
Yeah, we don't keep alcohol in the house either, so it's not like, you know what I mean? Because I think sometimes people spend a lot of money on alcohol, which is cool. If that's what you like to do. In fact, I would say most of our friends and family like to do that. It just, for me, I get so hungover. Not worth it. And Benjamin hasn't drank for like years now.
I was just talking to somebody the other day. Same guy I referenced in the last video, I think. Because he said something, because he had lived in, I'm like blanking right now, Myrtle Beach area. And he said that like there's a ton of like nice breweries out this way. And I was like, okay. I was like, I haven't drank in almost 3 years, probably. Like, I don't think I've taken a drink since 2017. I may have had a bit of champagne or something like that.
Yeah, you haven't had like a full drink.
Yeah, I have not had had a full drink in a couple years.
That's cool. I wasn't trying to downplay it. I just know that you've had.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah, especially being from the Midwest, because that's all people do is drink in Wisconsin and Illinois, particularly.
I will say this too, for I'd be, if anybody has questions about that.
About what?
I'd be curious.
Not drinking?
About being sober for 3 years, basically. Because I'll just say this. I don't miss it one bit. I have zero, every once in a while, situationally, there's this feeling of I wish I could have a drink right now.
Or the other day, there was a really good sounding drink. Remember?
Yeah.
You were like, I would have loved that. He's
right before I stopped drinking, I really got into whiskey and old fashions, and it was an old fashioned variation, and so the idea of it still sounds really nice to me, but in reality, besides that little bit of emotional pull towards it, sometimes I truly don't miss it at all. And obviously right now there's not a lot of social stuff going on, But like once I got over even the social like awkwardness of it, of not drinking, it was like once I embraced it and didn't like judge myself for it or feel awkward because I was not drinking. I don't know. It was actually very empowering to be like, I don't need to drink to have fun. I can just be there and be myself. And if you do like to drink to have fun, then that's great. Do you?
Benjamin just doesn't have fun.
No. I'm allergic to fun.
A little bit. But yeah. You miss coffee though. He also does. He hasn't drank coffee since before I knew him to deal with like adrenal issues and stuff. So
it fucks with my nervous system or something, and that's actually one of the things I'm hoping to find out this year. Because it's like, if I can't drink coffee, fine, whatever, but it also doesn't make sense to me why I can't. But
yeah.
So like,
so I don't have anybody to get a drink or a coffee with.
Yeah, so if you guys want to do that, hit her up.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think for money stuff, one thing that we did really well this year that I would say we're currently not doing well at right now is only because, and I say this from like our mindset is shit again. So that's kind of where we're at right now, at least for me. One thing that we did really well last year and at the beginning of last year is that we decided we were going to figure it out. So we figured out ways to make more money. Like I fought for a raise. Benjamin took on more in-person clients and then kind of figured shit out when COVID became a thing. He was going to drive Lyft for a while, which I would prefer that he didn't do with our car, but it still was an option. Like we really focused on like, what can we do now? And we focused on like, this year we're going to make more money. Gives you some power back. Sorry, our heat just kicked in. Because I felt like our conversation last night, while very vulnerable and true, was very like victim mindset. Like we were not full victim mindset, but we were just mad about it. We were sad about it. We were letting it get to us. And it's going to do that often, but in order to make any headway, you have to be proactive and you have to be on the offense, I think. And we've been living a little too long on the defense.
Yeah, it's hard because you have to be able to be disciplined, play good defense,
but also live.
Yeah,
a little.
And then also
Indian food.
Also be aggressive on offense, so to speak. So it's just hard because it's like both of those things take energy to try to do, whether it's being disciplined or
wind chime is gonna make noise now because the heat kicked in. I'm like hammering down these pakoras. Guys, some of your dip.
If you've been following along, I'm currently working on a couple food sensitivities. I don't think nightshades are good for me. Like tomatoes and potatoes.
This is all tomato and potato.
All tomato and potato. So
it's funny that neither of us thought of that. Especially you, because you're usually pretty. I mean, I think about Indian food.
I thought of it right before, but I was just like, well, whatever. So we'll check in with me tomorrow's vlog, and see how I'm feeling afterwards. But normally I'll notice within an hour or two after a meal, my energy will drop significantly. And I'll just kind of start to, geez, really? Yeah.
I traded him 2 cauliflower for 1 potato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll find
Anything
out.
else
But
money-wise we want to talk about?
I think so. Just be very honest about this. For me, it's just not fun. Like you guys, I don't know if you can tell, but I like to talk. And then when it comes to these conversations, I don't talk much. Because I truly like it's a full body experience for me where I don't like it. I just don't enjoy talking about it. It makes me uncomfortable. And it's interesting because I'm like a coach, I'm a business owner. I have a lot of fear that people are going to see this and they're going to judge me. They're going to say, oh, well, he must not have enough clients if he's not making good money. Or, oh, he's not a good coach because he's not like, making these $10,000 months.
Yeah.
So, and I want to be very open and real about what my fears of like putting this stuff out there are, because I think it's the whole reason that most people don't talk about money, right? They don't want to come off as incompetent, unsuccessful, any of these things. And kind of like we talked about yesterday, right? It's like our income
Is good.
has always been pretty good since we've been together. And right before we had all the debt and stuff and shit hit the fan, it was really good.
We did have I think we had like one $10,000 month in 2020 of income, which was the highest we had ever had before.
Yeah. But it's the expense part where it's like we're like expense poor.
And the expense is debt poor. We pay almost $2,000 a month just in debt payments. Only that.
Student loan plus consumer debt from
all debt. And that also includes our car, which is a debt. It's a debt I'm least worried about, but it is a debt.
Yeah, so a lot of what it is for me is just remembering like this doesn't define me. It doesn't make me a bad coach or somebody who's unsuccessful. Like I've started multiple businesses now, and like clearly I'm not loaded, but I've done some really cool things that I'm proud of, and like I know that I do good work, but those fears are just very real, so I wanted to put them out there and just gonna be honest about that.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you ever feel scared or weird talking about money? Because I feel like
No.
I feel like you don't, and that like it's triggering for me to see how open Jesse is about this, because I want to be like, dude, don't go there, like it's not comfortable. So it's really interesting from like a couple's dynamic.
I will say, I think part of it, I personally believe that money should be talked about more. I wasn't taught good money values growing up. I wasn't taught how to use money. I wasn't told what the hell student loans even meant when I took out thousands of dollars. And
tens of thousands.
Well, yeah. And I think, too, as a woman, we have to start talking about money more. And that's just my personal view. But with women tending to make less than men in general, whether it's on purpose or not, it's important for women to talk about it more and to be okay with it. And for women to be okay with being the breadwinner, for women being okay with understanding their money, knowing where it's going. I think like the old value of only men are controlling the budget is like out the window. It's never been the thing with us. He wouldn't pay attention to the budget unless I slap him upside the head with it. So, but I will say, I'm also just very open sometimes, and sometimes that gets me like a little burned. So when I was doing a lot of the budget videos, I was really struggling when people would come and try to like correct me with what we were doing, especially when we were so tight with our budget, and I would buy like Qdoba one day and like, you know, someone would say something that would be, it just made me feel a lot of shame. When it was like an $8 bowl and I hadn't bought myself anything for 6 months, you know? So, and I was working full time and bringing in almost the entire income. So there was a lot of like shame wrapped up in it, which I think is why I started to like back off a little bit, from sharing as much. But I think it helps more people than not. And I think for the most part, a lot of people are coming in and trying to help, and they're trying to give you ideas, and they're trying to maybe show you things that they think that they see that maybe you don't. But I'm just more open in general. I've always been more of a sharer than you. That's just like my natural tendency for sure. But one thing that I think is important, and I think could be something that we talk about at some point, is like what we do moving forward. So like what are some ideas we have for us personally to be on that proactive, offensive side of money, whether it's mindset on either end, whether it's paying more attention to the budget, whether it is, you know, doing something. I saw a couple of people in the last video mentioned a couple of like, yeah, they are really good. A couple of like jobs that we could get. And so, so yeah, I used to be, one of them was like being a server, which I actually was a server for like 10 years. And it's just, first of all, it's not something I'm going to do right now with COVID. I have an autoimmune disease, and it's just not worth putting myself out there. Plus, I don't really think that there's many restaurant jobs open right now. I think a lot of people in the restaurant industry are laid off, or, you know, but it's just like, we really would like to find ways to make money that are a little bit more passive, meaning like not jobs that we have to go into. Obviously, if we have to at some point, we will, because paying off our debt is important. But yeah, so like as we think of what we're going to do proactively on that offensive, that could be interesting to share, like what we come up with, because it might be different than what most people come up with, you know? Because one thing, and it's actually a struggle that Ben and I have in our relationship, is Ben is like very big picture, and he thinks of like, this is going to bring me a lot of wealth or a lot of success at some point, and he is
in like the next couple of years.
Yeah, and he is most likely very correct, and he was correct about his current business. It's like gone very slow, but it's been a consistent incline. However, you know, the issue is we can't wait 5 years to pay off this debt, you know, so, or at least to make a good dent on it. But
yeah, so, and it's like I started the donut business with my cousin. And so, you know,
that's taken off.
I'm like
but you're not really in it anymore. Yeah.
Partial owner of that still, but it's like, you know, that's in the early phases. It's not like I'm getting paid out, you know, in big ways for that. It's like, you know, in 10 years, maybe, great, whatever. I'm just happy that he's being successful with it. So it's like, you know, not that big of a deal. But it's like, I've put a lot of energy into, and I'm working on a couple of things that I'm excited about right now, but they are mostly like
long-term,
larger scale, things. And so while I'm really excited about them and I know that they'll do well, over time, it's still, you know, because we're trying to bridge the gap in the next 6 months with just kind of like where we're at, that's the harder part. Because for anybody that has ever, I'm not sure you guys have any experience with this, but like for anybody that's created a business or worked for themselves in some form, like
you still have sauce left.
I know, dude, eat it.
I'm gonna die. I can't stop eating it.
You need time in order to build things and to make things, which is why so many people have a hard time quitting their job or starting a side hustle, is because it's like you can't. It's very, very difficult to build something on limited time. So that's the difficulty of, like, always with getting another job, or for me even like filling more hours with training. And then there's the aspect of I have to be careful that I'm still giving my clients a ton of value, and I'm getting enough time to rest, and I'm getting enough time to spend with Jessie so that she's not feeling left out or like we're losing a connection. So it's like, because of the chronic illness variable, like that is a big part, because it's not like I have this unlimited energy. I can't chug coffee, nor would I. It's not like I can chug Monsters and work 12 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. Like, it's just not something I can do. And same with Jessie. So there are limiting factors that make it, you have to be like very selective about the avenues that we choose.
Mm-hmm.
Those picoras are so addictive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you stop?
You don't. Keep going.
I know these last 2 videos have been kind of rambly. This is like us trying to talk about money, trying to be a little bit more vulnerable. Like I said, for me especially, struggling through it. So again, if anything is helpful or not so helpful to spend time on for you all, because our shit don't actually matter. It's you and how you're relating to it. So let us know down below, and just questions, comments, anything you want us to elaborate on, tell us, ask us. We're here.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Later.